Hey guys, Alpha here, or aka Alpha Sprout 69 from the Six String Bliss forums, and today is a tutorial on how to make acoustic panels. So you're probably looking behind me seeing, what are these red, black and red things on the walls? Well, they're acoustic panels. So today we're going to talk about why we need them and how to make them. So if you have a small room like I do, where your studio is, or your man cave, music room, whatever you want to call it, and you're thinking to yourself, every time I do some recordings with my vocals or I mic up my amp, it's kind of like the room got its own reverb in it. And that's because it does. If you have bare walls, then the sound waves will bounce off any chance they get. So what we're trying to achieve here is to get some type of absorption acoustic material, and this can be anything from the proper acoustic foam that you get with the ridges in it, or you could possibly even use, I've heard people use egg cartons, which I wouldn't recommend because they don't work too well. And or like, what is really good to use is house insulation with acoustic properties. I'm on the hunt for a very specific insulation which I can't really find at the moment to get in Sydney. Well, I can't find it to get it for a decent price. However, we will keep looking. So yeah, basically what you want to do is you want to break up the bare walls. So you could even just hang any type of acoustic material from the walls. You don't have to cover the whole wall, just in a couple of sections to break up those sound waves so they're not big waves just bouncing back and forth. You're going to make them sort of absorb, and that will stop this flutter or echo or reverb effect that's in your room. You can probably hear that in the microphone now because there's nothing inside these panels at the moment. However, it's a good idea, and it doesn't actually cost that much money. You can buy acoustic panels commercially from a lot of different suppliers, and they would work really well. However, they're quite expensive. The cheapest I could find in Australia were $200 each for a panel, and you could be looking at around 10, maybe 15 panels in your room, depending on how big your room is and how many issues you have. So that's a lot of money, and we're going to try to do this thing as cheaply as possible to get some desirable results. Now, all I'm after, or all I'm trying to achieve, is to stop the echo within my voice when I do vocals and when I mic up my guitar. So to stop the high frequency echo. To stop low frequency, you have to get bass traps. You'll need a much bigger room to make it work properly. And the type of absorption you'll need is quite thick, and it's just not practical for this room. So what we're trying to do is stop the high-end sort of flutter in your recordings. And I built all these myself. I actually have, on that wall, I've got 3. I've got one on the back of the door, which is down here. And I have 3 behind me there, 1 on that wall. I'm going to put another one in front of my desk, a really big one. Actually, I'll put 2, and a couple on the sides of the other wall. There's actually a window here. And that should be enough to stop the slight reverb that you hear when you do vocals and that sort of thing, or recording voiceover work in this small room. And of course, we're not going to be able to get things perfect, but we'll try to get as close to having less reverb as possible. You know, this is our home studio, so we can only do so much. Okay, so here's one of the panels that I've made here, and it's really, really simple to make. It's just a wooden frame with material going over it. And the great thing is, you can use any type of material you want. It doesn't have to be a plain color. You can get any pattern or whatever you like. You could even use it in your lounge room or other places around the house that you could use with a bit of art decoration, or could do with cutting down on the reverb when you have conversations. So, it doesn't have to be just a studio. So to make these things, it's pretty cheap. Each one of these pieces of wood to make the frame, here's one here. This was $1.17. $1.17 for this. That is so cheap for just an average piece of pine. It's about 3 feet wide, 2 by, what's that? 3/4 of an inch or so. And it's perfect for our use. Now, in order to join these up, we're just going to join them so they're just sort of one this way and then one that way, so they're together. And to give you an example of how we make it here, here's one I made earlier in miniature. Look at that! So this one's for a slightly different purpose. I may not put any acoustic material in this, but it's pretty easy to construct, and you need some basic tools. So all I've done is just join them inside there like that. You'll just drive one screw into the side there, a couple of staples on it from a staple gun. I actually drove a couple of nails in there as well to reinforce it, to stop it from twisting and turning, and that's it. It's really solid. Like, this is a solid frame. I haven't used any wood glue or anything like that. You can if you choose to. I'd recommend that you do, just to make it a little bit stronger. I did in a couple of panels behind me, and that's pretty much it. It's a really simple process. Now, I know a lot of people are going to tell me that is not how you join a frame. You have to do 45-degree angle cuts and use V-nails and glue. Well, this isn't for that purpose. For what we need, making it like that is absolutely perfect, because we're not going to see the joins and they're going to look great anyway. The other thing you're going to need is what I was talking about, is tracking down the acoustic material. I found some stuff here. This was really cheap. It was like $10 for enough to fill probably 2 of these, and it's that's the sort of stuff that's polyester, acoustic absorption material. There's stuff they put inside speaker boxes and that sort of thing to stop the bass from going down the back and bouncing around inside it. We'll see how that goes, because it's pretty cheap, so I'd like to take advantage of that if I can. But like I say, you can use any type of acoustic material that has good acoustic absorption properties. We're not trying to make the room soundproof or anything like that, if anyone's thinking that. We're trying to stop reverb in the room. We're not trying to completely kill the reverb, we're just trying to make it so it doesn't flutter and doesn't sound like we're in a big hollow open space when we record with a microphone. So guys, let's get to it. I'm going to have a couple of pictures go in here to show you how I constructed these panels. And if anyone out there is willing to take this on, go for it. It's really cheap. To make one of this, to make this here, what would it be? No more than about $7 or $8 to make this frame. The frames, of course, are purely for aesthetics. You could just hang the material from your walls and be done with it if you don't care. But it's kind of nice to have something decorative up here. Makes it look a little bit more professional, gets you excited to record and have a good time. To hang them, I've just used a couple of screws here in the back on either side with large heads on them. And this is just picture frame wire. Really cheap stuff and works great for our purposes. So guys, without any further ado, let's get to it. This is how you make your do-it-yourself acoustic paneling frames. Alright guys, so let's grab some basic tools to start off with. You'll just need a drill, any old drill will do. And grab yourself a staple gun. The metal ones are always a little bit nicer, and I use 8mm staples, but you can use whatever you like. Get yourself something to draw a nice straight line. I use a square, always puts a nice straight edge on your wood. Something to cut your wood. If you don't have access to power tools, a hand drill and a miter box will always give you a nice, sharp, straight edge. When you're putting everything together, I always tack it together with a staple gun first, just so it gives you a frame and what you're setting out to put together. Will hold it in place nicely, so when you drill your hole, you don't have to worry about clamps or anything like that. Now, if you're not going to use any wood glue, put in one screw and on either side drive in 2 nails. This is what I always do when I'm not using glue, and it gives you a nice, solid frame. This is probably the most difficult part of making this frame, and that's stretching the material across the front. We're going to do this a little bit like you would a canvas. So first off, put something down on your bench so you can protect it, like a blanket or something like that. If you don't care, don't worry about that step. Next up, lay down the fabric and then put your frame on top. What we're trying to do here is to stretch it evenly across the frame, across each edge. So put down a staple in the middle of each edge of your frame. That way you'll be able to stretch out the fabric and you won't have any creases or soft divots or so in the fabric itself when you've put it on the frame. So once you've got all 4 edges done, work your way towards the outside and start to stretch it across. At the end you'll have a nice clean finished product. When you do put your acoustic material into the frame, you're going to need something to put on the back to hold it in there. Any piece of off-cut fabric will do, or you could use something like a thin piece of wood for a backing board. Now for the final part of the frame, this is putting in whatever you want to use to hang the frame. I use picture wire, nice and cheap, and the easiest way to do it is to get some screws with large heads on it, wrap it around the screws, and then wrap the picture wire around that. So here we have the finished product, nice and clean on the front and easy. Yeah, the back's a bit messy, but we're not going to see that. So guys, hope this helped you out with your acoustic reverb problems. And until next time, catch ya.